Imagine a world where the roar of powerful engines and the sleek design of motorcycles were just a dream. In the bustling aftermath of World War II, one man dared to challenge the status quo and revolutionize the transportation industry. Join us as we uncover the untold story of Honda's creation, a tale of vision, perseverance, and innovation that transformed a small workshop into a global powerhouse. This is the story of how a simple mechanic's dream evolved into one of the most influential names in automotive history. Buckle up and get ready for a ride through the extraordinary journey of Honda. This story dates back to 1914, when an 8-year-old boy was playing in a village in Japan. Suddenly, he saw a machine running on 4 wheels. It was a Ford Model T, and seeing it left the boy amazed. That was the day when this 8-year-old boy first became fascinated by cars and mechanical parts. His name was Soichiro Honda. Little did anyone know that in the future, his name would be seen on every small and big vehicle. In this video, we're going to talk about the incredible journey of Soichiro Honda. He born in 1906 in a small village near Mount Fuji in Japan. Soichiro Honda came from a family where his father worked as a blacksmith and part-time bicycle repairman. Sadly, 5 of his siblings had already passed away due to common illnesses, so his parents had high hopes for him. However, Honda had little interest in studying. Instead, he found himself drawn to helping his father with bicycle repairs. At the age of 16, Honda saw a job ad in the newspaper. A company named Art Shikai in Tokyo was looking for technicians at their automobile service station. Honda wrote a letter applying for the job, and to his luck, he got a positive reply. This was when Honda left his home and school to start working in Tokyo. Honda's dreams were crushed when he arrived at Art Shikai in Tokyo. Instead of working on cars, the owner assigned him to cleaning duties and even babysitting. Honda was frustrated but had no choice. On one hand, he had left his family and home, and on the other, he was stuck doing menial jobs. He felt too ashamed to return to his village and face his parents, so he continued doing the job for several months. Eventually, after a few months, the owner of Art Shikai started assigning him work in the workshop. Honda was deeply interested in this and quickly picked things up. Within a few months, he had learned a lot about different cars and their parts. During this time, Art Shikai built 2 racing cars. The first was the Art Daimler, and the second was the Curtiss. These cars were built using old engines, and they even won first place at the 1924 Japan Motor Car Championship. By then, Honda had become a skilled mechanic, but during this race, he sat with the driver, not only as a mechanic, but as an engineer. This event marked the moment when Honda made motor racing his passion. For the next several years, he continued working at Art Shikai, gaining more experience. In 1928, at the age of 22, Honda decided to open another branch. This branch was to be located in Hamamatsu, and the owner entrusted Honda with the responsibility of running it. Honda started this new branch of Art Shikai with just 1 worker, but within 2 years, it grew to 30 workers. By now, Honda had become not only a brilliant mechanic, but also a skilled racing driver. Using his expertise, he designed a racing car for his boss. This car could run at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour, breaking all previous records. This record remained Japan's highest speed record for the next 20 years. The owner of Art Shikai had begun to highly value Honda. Honda wanted to open his own workshop, but perhaps fate had other plans. In 1936, during a race, Honda met with a terrible accident. Although he survived, his left arm was fractured, his shoulder dislocated, and his face was severely injured. At that point, it seemed like his life was over. He could neither work as a mechanic nor participate in races. After several months of recovery, Honda requested the owner of Art Shikai to let him quit repair work. Instead, he proposed the idea of starting a company to manufacture spare parts. However, the owner immediately rejected Honda's idea, as they were already making a profit and no one wanted to take on new risks. It was at that moment that Honda decided to open the spare parts manufacturing company on his own. In 1936, at the age of 30, he teamed up with his friend and started Tokai Seiki Heavy Industry, appointing his friend Kato Shichiro as the president. Although they had established the company, Honda had no investment to run it. During the day, he continued working at Art Shikai, while at night he worked on building engine pistons for his new company. For several months, Honda juggled between both jobs, but he was unable to achieve success. On the contrary, working continuous shifts weakened him. One failure after another kept blocking his path. It was then that he decided to enroll in a university to gain advanced knowledge in metallurgy. After 3 years of continuous hard work, in 1939, finally Honda succeeded in making a piston. He quit his job and began focusing full-time on piston production. However, little did he know that there were still many flaws in his pistons. When he offered his pistons to Toyota, they rejected 47 out of 50 designs. This news hit Honda like a thunderbolt, as he had no way to turn back now. Determined to improve, Honda traveled across Japan, visiting different factories and meeting with manufacturers to understand the industry better. He spent the next few years learning from the market. Then once again, Honda produced new pistons. This time they passed all quality control tests, and he began receiving orders rapidly. Honda's dream was finally coming true, and his company even hired 2,000 workers to meet the increasing demand. But his joy was short-lived. In 1941, Japan entered World War II, and the Ministry of War took control of many Japanese companies, including Honda's. Honda was demoted and made senior managing director of the company, while things continued to deteriorate when many of his workers were drafted into military service. The next 3 years were extremely challenging, but in 1944, disaster struck. During an air raid, a missile hit Honda's factory directly, destroying it completely. As the war progressed, the situation in Japan worsened, and it was clear that Japan was losing the war. In 1945, 2 nuclear attacks on Japan crippled the nation. Following this, Japan surrendered to the Americans. By the end of the war, Honda had lost everything. He sold the remains of his company to Toyota for 450,000 yen and once again found himself jobless. But Honda wasn't the only one suffering. Japan as a whole was facing a severe crisis. The economy had collapsed, food and water were scarce, and inflation had skyrocketed. Public transportation was almost non-existent due to the fuel shortage. During this time, Honda got his hands on a small engine used by the Japanese Imperial Army to power wireless radios. Being naturally inventive, an idea struck him. Why not attach the engine to a bicycle to solve his transportation problem? It would be both cheap and efficient, especially as people were already struggling with rising costs. When people saw the engine-powered bicycle, they loved the idea. Honda managed to get a few used engines, but the demand was so high that he decided to design a new engine himself. This was the first time in history that a machine carried Honda's logo. However, Honda didn't have enough money to produce these motorized bicycles on a large scale, so he wrote an open letter to 18,000 shop owners asking for their support. People trusted Honda so much that 3,000 shop owners responded positively to Honda's letter, and many even gave him money in advance. Over the next 3 years, Honda developed a motorcycle that met market demands. This was launched under the name Super Cub, and it caused a sensation as soon as it hit the market. The model was so successful that by 1958, it had overtaken the sales of American giants like Triumph and Harley-Davidson. Since Honda was always passionate about racing, he decided to build racing bikes. He would attend various bike races and carefully note the features of the winning bikes. At that time, racing competitions were more than just a sport. They served as a marketing tool for manufacturing companies. Within a few years, Honda launched its first racing bike, which won first place in the 1962 International Racing Competition. This victory made Honda's name famous worldwide. By 1960, Honda had become the largest motorcycle manufacturing company in the world, and by 1968, they had sold over 10 million units. After living for 62 years, Soichiro Honda had finally achieved great success, but the dream he had carried since childhood still remained unfulfilled. Honda now wanted to enter the car manufacturing industry. Many people advised him against it, but he didn't listen to anyone. At that time, companies like Toyota and Nissan were already dominating the market, so creating a space for a new car company was quite difficult. Honda first launched a pickup truck, the T360, which failed. After that, they launched a car, the S500, but only 1,300 units were sold. After years of hard work and dozens of rejected designs, the Honda Civic was finally launched in 1972. This car has become one of the most famous models worldwide, with new versions still being produced today. A year after the launch of the Civic in 1973, Soichiro Honda retired from the company. In August 1991, his incredible journey came to an end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and make sure to follow the channel for more content like this. See you next time.